Good morning and welcome to our second round of coverage here at World Flying Disc Federation's tournament, the World Beach Ultimate Championship. We are here in the mixed division, the semifinal between the number 1 ranked USA and number 4 ranked France, who upset Canada yesterday in their quarterfinal round, taking out the number 2 seed and the defending silver medal champion. I am Katie Killebrew here with Chris Mazer. Exciting action packed for us all day today, but this round in particular.
Yeah, my goodness, what a path for these two teams. They haven't seen each other yet. Oh, sorry, they have seen each other once, and it was the closest game that the U.S. has had. France gave it everything they absolutely had. They got to halftime first, right? And the U.S. kind of had to dig in deep and say, where are we going to get these blocks from? And you know what? Talking with the team this morning, they pointed to one fellow in particular, and it's this man right here, Simon Higgins.
Yeah, Simon Higgins racking up the stats, but you're saying really a leader of the team, not just in goals and assists.
Yeah, they look to him as the tone setter because what he's been doing is that obviously he's a tough matchup, right? He's big and he's really, really great at reading the disc. He's fast, good throws, but it's his shot selection that's been impressing the team the most. He hasn't been taking risky shots. They've been in rhythm.
On the other side, Elliot Bonnet for France, just 20 years old, but he scored 6 of the 11 points for France yesterday in their semifinal matchup. Just cool as a cucumber with the disc.
Yeah, and this is kind of that matchup that the U.S. is looking at the most because this guy doesn't want to give the disc up. And so the U.S. doesn't know how to get it from him right now. He seems like a little bit of an unknown quantity as he's only 20 years old, but after this tournament, gotta believe.
And that full first poll going up. This rematch just 25 hours ago. These teams played in pool play and now in the semifinal. Bonneau putting one up, and who is it but Bonnet in the end zone, number 11 for France with a quick strike for the first point.
Love the shape out of the France offense. They made acres of space to isolate Blanc coming under, a little pitch and catch, and they centered to Bonnet. They love his hands, and then ejected from the handler space. Easy goal, no chance for Brownlee to catch up.
No, it's interesting. Every time after the point, you are going to see the entire French team basically on the field, those not playing kneeling. Some other teams that were with their noted in their spirit score that it was hard to pick matchups. But when you see these players on the field, I think that everyone around the world is going to start knowing them to match up against them.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful set play to run a little horizontal look, a 1-2 to the cutters, and Bonneau, just the perfect pace on this, right? Because she gets Bonnet out at top speed. He doesn't have to slow down at all. He is just running at his speed, and she has pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah. Now we're getting a first look at the USA O-line. That pull going up and around over the booth, but landing deep in the end zone for the U.S. Higgins up to Kawabata. Helton streaking deep outside the end zone. And a switch by the French team, but that is Harper Garvey with the score for U.S. No turns so far.
Yeah, just fundamental work from everyone on the field here. It's head down cutting. No big jukes or moves or, hey, I'm going to go set you up with a 3-step this way, 3-step this way. It was a hard plant and go out of both Kayla Helton downfield, Reina Kawabata, who gets this second cut, and then Harper Garvey, who comes out of the handler set, head down sprinting. Gorgeous, gorgeous shot here from Reina. Everything you want to see from both offenses so far.
Yeah, really good defensive switch there from France. You can see that the female matching player there, Camille Blanc, is trying to get on Garvey to try to make up that space because the defenders were trailing. But, you know, it's really hard to stop the U.S. team in flow.
Now we're going to see the hybrid line for the Team USA mix. They run 3 very distinct lines, an O-line, a D-only line, and this hybrid line.
France back in action. Up to Bonet. Tight defense, but it's flying in the air. And that is Sasha Płetsokolski with the score.
This time Bonet gets started downfield. They want to get him the disc early in the possession, and then suffocating defense from the U.S., eliminating all options near the disc. This is just a hope and a prayer and a trust throw to their downfield release option, and the star of the World Games team for France, Płetsokolski.
Yeah, Płetsokolski is one of those players who does a good job of going both directions. You can see just that turn there, putting on the jets and snagging it out of the sky.
Yeah, he kind of just skates along the sand almost. He looks so light and quick. One of the few players that we've seen this week who really is changing directions elegantly on the sand.
At this point, it is going to be majority female matching players. The gender ratio will switch every 2 points. I think that might be a story in other teams, but the U.S. and France both using all of their players on the field very well throughout the tournament. Garvey over to Helton. Looking upfield to Higgins, using that far sideline. Garvey streaking deep again. Puts it too far to the break side and out of range of Kawabata, giving France their first break opportunity and the first turnover of this game.
Yeah, that was a little semifinals jitters right there out of Harper Garvey, if I've ever seen it. Just overcooked it a little bit.
Dimne not worrying at all, running deep, diving into the sand, and a score for France. A huge catch by Juliette Bertrand.
Bertrand just goes horizontal, leaves the regular field of play to dive into the end zone for a sure goal. I love this decision. When you are about to catch a huck like this in sand, you can always make this choice when you're right outside the end zone. Just leave your feet and go dive into the end zone. We've so many players that we've seen have just decided to catch this right on the goal line. That's asking your team to go make more passes and maybe make a mistake. I love this choice by her to just dive in the end zone where she doesn't need to dive and get the goal right away. Beautifully done.
Yeah, joy on the face there as she's kneeling, looking at who is being called on the line. Kawabata there falling to the sand before she could make a play on that disc. It was absolutely all France. Just 3 passes to the end zone.
Yeah, and this is also very similar to, I think, the path that the first time these two teams played against each other, where France struck first before the U.S. brought it back tied, and ultimately they ended up taking half for the French team. So we're now looking at the hybrid line, the swing line that comes in after the O-line gets broken.
Sadie Jezierski swinging out to Denicourt. U.S. using the sidelines of the field. It's Carolyn Finney on the far side. Back to Denicourt. Finney getting the break. Jezierski snatching behind. Well defended by France, but finally finds a hole, and it's Vendetta. Kristen Pajunas with the score for the U.S.
Wow, what a dicey hold from the U.S. The French pressure is just relentless right now. This took 2 or 3 really high-level, high-stall kind of bailout throws. The first one from Finney, who looked off, must have been 5 or 6 cuts before she finds Denicourt. And then Denicourt, he's kind of known for this forehand kind of break shot that he throws crossfield to Finney. And this one behind, I mean, look, any number of little things could have happened here. This was a point of inches.
Absolutely. I love how they really trapped the U.S. on that far sideline, making it super difficult to get off of the line. Really crafty work by the throwers there and great grabs. I mean, it's certainly not the first time we've seen Pajunas in the end zone. She is a shark, but she's actually a player I like seeing more on defense, known for her defensive capabilities. So being on that flex line, talking with Coach John Gross before the game, saying that flex line is one that he's looking to hopefully play more defense in this game. Mbe Vogel. Nas, as he's known. Upfield. Bourneau. Back to Mbe. And it looked like some players had stopped, but Elliot Bonnet did not. A score and a head spike giving France a score. They are up a break over USA.
Yeah, Bonnet might have gotten away with one here that kind of just skated by the entire stack. Kind of a cross-field shot that just flips over a little bit in this light breeze this morning. And it's all right, though, because he's throwing it to some of the best hands in the world in Płaczkowski.
In looking at this, I'm always impressed by his awareness going this. I hesitate to call him a kid because he's playing like a grown adult, very experienced Frisbee player, but the 20-year-old really making inroads here in this tournament.
On the second look from the other angle, we can actually see that El Salam got a piece of that, which resulted in that extra flutter. A little bit less of a dicey shot. The stack was actually out of the way a little more than we saw, but hey, where we're at here, the French offense has 3 holds, and Bonnet has been involved in all 3 of them.
Yeah, floaty pole digging into the sand, not quite as deep as they may have liked. USA on their own goal line, full field to go. Sean Mott with the disc. To Garvey. Out to the side. Kawabata with the disc. Looking deep. Simon Higgins laying out. Calmly getting up, floating it to Helton. Mate trying to make a play, but that was all Helton and the USA.
Wonderful finish by Higgins to Helton. But what I want to point out on this is this matchup that we see with Laurent on Higgins. He's been the one that they've called the number for him this whole game so far in the first half and doing a fantastic job. Simon was shut down on his first 3 or 4 options this point. And then even on this shot that Kawabata finds him, he's got a full extension layout because Laurent just made him blanketed on the under 2 or 3 times. Really beautiful job from the French defensive unit here, and it had to be perfect from the Americans for them to score.
Yeah, coaches for France saying that in their matchup, they felt like they were ahead for the first 3 quarters of the game in pool play matchup, and that they just didn't have it at the end. You can see the coaches there, Cedric Tessard and Raphael Mate. Mate is actually the father of Kais Mate, coaching his own son who's 20 in this tournament. Really a legacy there for France. But they wanted to review their footage and make a full effort all the way through this game. So we've seen a great start for France, but they're really knowing that the U.S. can come back and wanting to have a full effort in order to punch their way into the final. It's Bourneau with the disc, resetting. Upfield, tight defense from the USA. Moving a little slower, but it's Bonnet with the disc. Back to Bourneau.
Yeah, this is the second time it looks like a pick could have been called. A really tight vertical stack from the French in the middle of the field, and Bonnet is just taking initiative here no matter where he is. Lefty on lefty matchup at the back of the stack.
Yep, Bourneau close to the sand, but Bonnet digs it out. Lachi, inside throw. Back to Bourneau, really churning through all of their players. Holstering that disc. Dish out, immediately back. Lachi to Bonnet. And at the front of the stack, and France, it is Bourneau with the score.
Experience and wisdom beyond the years of play here. Bonnet looks off a tight window pass and makes the right choice to a wide open Bourneau at the front of the stack.
France leads 5-3 over USA. And we're back. USA fielding the pole, needing a clean hold as they currently trail France 5-3. Higgins with a disc in the middle, shooting deep for Mott over the shoulder of Dimnay. Mott looking at Helton, no one else close by.
Thank you, Simon.
Yeah, putting his hands in the air behind the disc to signify violation and stoppage of play. And we're back. Mott looking to reset, looking for something, and who is it but Helton? Kayla Helton in the end zone for USA, and their clean hold. Helton gets 2 in a row.
Yeah, this is encouraging for the US's offense to see this, because 2 moments here are purely chemistry things, right? Simon Higgins is throwing kind of this like back shoulder, not the best forehand he's ever thrown, but he trusts Mott where he's putting this disc out into space. And then Helton times it up for Mott's preferred break throw, this around backhand as a lefty. You don't just get that off. This is the first game that they're playing together, right? You can see the chemistry is starting to sink in for these players to get a nice, easy score.
Yeah, Coach Stronggross was saying that this team is really finding cohesion because there's players that have played in all the divisions, women's, mixed, and men's, and not all of them have played sand, so it's been really a cohesive effort for this team to come together. And you know, they said that it wasn't if they'd find pressure and challenge, but when, and they've really found it in France. This defensive line looks like it's going to be pulled by Marquez Brownlee, but they are looking to get a break back to bring it close to France. France, however, not having turned it over in this game yet.
It's a delicate, maybe 20% effort on that pull from Brownlee.
Really excellent pull, floating in space, letting the defense get down. Mbevogel goes upfield to Bonnet, now with the disc. Mbevogel's ultimate resume looks like a who's who's of teams. Very experienced French player. Bonnet upfield. Mbevogel floats into the break space, but it's Marquez Brownlee snatching it out of the air, giving France its first turnover and US its first chance at a break to bring it back to even in this semifinal. Mextroth on the far side. El Salam. Brownlee. US using the whole sideline all the way up, and it is Brownlee to Mextroth for the break and score for the US. We are back tied at 5s.
You could see Marquez Brownlee teeing up this block for the entire point. He committed to body position that would allow him to take away any pass that wasn't 100% perfect. The whole time you could see him early in the possession, he's taking away an in-cut, using his body to tell Płaczkowski, you got to go away. Now, clearly going away, he goes and takes out the undercut. Beautifully done by Marquez Brownlee.
I love the placement of that pull. Sometimes we don't talk about pulling enough, but that one floated and the defense came down and was suffocating immediately. finally yielding a turnover, but there's still been a lot of throws in these games, but only one turnover apiece. You can see in the stadium other Team USA's women's and men's grandmasters coming in and supporting this mixed semifinal. It's really great to see the camaraderie among all the teams and the support across the board.
Yeah, there was certainly a commitment from the USA's defense there to do something different. They said, okay, enough with the free open passes. We're going to be tight everywhere, all over the field. Now, let's see what the hybrid line comes up with, and if they try a little bit something different, a little tricky. This is a group of experienced mixed players who have played mixed at the highest level, have played club mixed. It's a really interesting line because they can do something different than the rest of the team.
Yeah, that pull landing out of bounds and being walked up to that brick mark. Veteran leadership there, making sure they get all of the inches as they walk up to that brick mark. Blanc with the disc, guarded by Pajunas. Lachi. Great head fake there by Puitsikolski.
Foul by Umbe Vogel on the mark here. Get a little shoulder shimmy that caught Jacob Smith right in the jaw.
Bonnet, big layout, immediately dishing. Quick movement here from France. They tend to do better when they move it quickly as opposed to holding it. Bonnet on the far side. Up into space, and it is Puitsikolski with the score.
Just a couple touch throws here from France and trust, right? Touchy trust throws here, ensuring that, hey, we're going to keep the American defenders on our back so that they don't have a chance to actually get the block. And then to finish, this chemistry, Katie, it's beautiful to see how these two have seemingly they just know where they're going to move before they're moving there. It's wonderful.
Yeah, really using the verticality of their throws here is France. And that trust connection, that is yet another offensive point that Bonnet has been involved in.
That's every offensive possession for France. Bonnet has either thrown or caught. That's something special when you're playing against some of the world's best.
Be interesting to see who they try to match up on him next. Dimne running down hard. Neves to Higgins. Helton has Garvey going deep. Garvey in space, churning through the sand, and makes that one look easy. Floating across the...
Yeah, absolutely, and all respect and honor here to the real one here, Kayla Helton. My goodness, it is so hard to stop her. She has been amazing on the sand for her entire career. The power that she has and the way that she cuts, it's just, you can't take anything away, because when you do take one thing away, she's so smart, she takes away the other thing. And once the disc is in her hands, she's so confident to throw these away passes, finding Garvey now twice, whether it's a short little away pass or a deep shot. She's really tough to beat, and she's filling up the stat sheet for the Americans now.
As she should. You know, it's interesting having played college and started Ultimate at the same time. Kayla used to be good for a turnover or two, known for her athletic plays and her receiving ability, but not for her throws. But really now changing that dynamic. She is so careful and sure with the disc, really making herself felt nationally and internationally. I think if players by this time don't know Kayla Helton, they should. Tied at sixes. France resetting. Back to Lachi. Umbe Vogel. Nas putting a deep one, slicing. Bonnet going deep, and he's in the end zone. Salam is so frustrated, but the Jets are with Bonnet.
I'm in absolute disbelief. That's halftime for France, and we're talking about, one of the best defenders in the game, in the world. World Games best defender. And here, Bonnet, the youngster, just absolutely torches El Salam to the rack, and it was patience and calm. He kind of just hung around for a little bit, but it's the French taking half on the American 7-6 at the halftime here. Semifinals. Welcome back.
And we are back. Almost no break for the teams in this semifinal matchup. France up 7-6 over USA. The number 4 seed up on the 1, and it is a gorgeous day here in Huntington Beach. The sand is fast and the pull is going up. US deep in their own end zone. Mott back to Garvey. Mate close, hunting for that block. Mott with the disc. Now back to Helton, making no vertical moves until here. Out to Kawabata, centering to Higgins. Upfield, Mott looking deep, but no one going yet. USA calmly moving the disc under tight French defensive pressure. Now on Higgins on the far side, has Kawabata slicing inside to Kawabata for the US hold. 7-all.
What team pressure defense from the French here, suffocating on these first 6 passes, forcing the Americans to get out of rhythm. Totally blew up the pull play. All they could do was just play catch and hope not to turn it over.
Yeah, coming out of half, we have a really similar story to the previous matchup. France went up on the USA 7-6 beforehand. US scored 7-7 into the second half, and it was late in the second half that France just couldn't keep up with the Americans. And it's really going to be seeing how these matchups play out. It's something I'm very excited to see if they can do, Chris, because the French team is so young. Over half of the team is under 20, playing on the U17 and U20 French national teams in multiple divisions. They are absolutely leaning into their youth. There's, of course, the veterans of the French program also there to lead, but this is truly a moment for France to break through on the international stage and prove that the youngsters are here to play. The US, on the other hand, is a significantly older team than this French team.
They are, and
Bonnet lays out to get it.
The American coaching staff said that they weren't ready the first time they played the French. This time they were ready, and it's the same result.
Lachi. Bonnet. Sideline to sideline for the French, using the full width of the field. Holstering that, putting one up into the end zone, floating, falling. Big collision as Lachi goes up for it. I think dug out by Bourneau, but goodness gracious, what a heavy collision there as... That's nothing you want to see, Chris. That was certainly more than I think she was expecting in that play. Another look at it. Yeah, good to see players getting up, but it was certainly something there. I think that was some... body contact that I don't think I would be comfortable with.
There are so many things that we can dissect from this moment in this game, Katie. The first thing is, I am just so happy to see that Latchi got up, right? This is wholly unacceptable body control by the Americans. If I'm on the Spirit captain side of things, there's a discussion that needs to be said because this can't happen. Secondarily, unbelievable presence of mind by Bourneau to see a floating disc and despite all this contact to go lay out and catch a goal. This French team is in a magical place together, and you can see by the way that they are hugging and supporting after this moment. It's something else, right? There's something really special happening here.
Ooh, and after that moment, we're back in action. U.S. O-line, Mott, upfield for Helton. U.S. really likes that far sideline. Higgins again. Looking. Tight defense. Dimnay just gets a little bit caught up in the sand behind Mott. Mott floats one up to Helton. Well read. And the Americans punch back.
Really well read by Helton, and the change here of defenders with their young star Blanc guarding Helton. I love this matchup. It's something to watch for the rest of the game because, Helton seems fairly unstoppable as she's slicing and dicing on the sand, and Blanc is this powerful young defender.
Yeah, Blanc, when France faced Germany, had an absolutely stellar layout D over the top of Lev Kovalchuk and is only 17. So it's an exciting matchup as we get in this game. I really want to see Blanc and Helton go toe-to-toe.
But you know what? The block itself, this catch block is crazy nice. What was most impressive to me on this is how she was able to catch up, right? She's beat here when the throw goes up, and somehow she goes out and around and in the sand. That almost never happens. Like, that takes a special kind of a defender to be able to pull off something like that.
Exactly, and that's the kind of highlights we've seen from France so far. But really, it's one of those moments between teams that you need a D like that to really get you fired up. We've seen these teams be calm and collected. There's only been, I think, 3 or 2 turnovers in the entire game. Bonnet. Back to Sasha. Latchi, a pick upfield. Erica Bacon defending.
Yeah, it's clear that the French want to attack the right side of the field, and they're clearing out towards the left, and it was just a little bit of a late stall kind of cut into that space as a clearing cut was also happening.
Yep. Bonnet looking upfield. Latchi getting open. There's quite a lot of movement upfield, players getting maybe closer to each other than they have in previous points. Latchi, however, bringing the disc back in after that collision. Great to see her back on the field. Inside angle, was running out of options and time. It is Bonnet. And Putsakolshi puts it out to space, and Bourneau again in the end zone finding space. One of the 2 Bourneau sisters, Ava, not able to be here for this tournament, originally making this roster, but I think her sister is absolutely doing her proud.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of some confusion this time out of the French offense. Not something we've seen at all this game. And so what did they go to? They went to the 2 gentlemen here to just say, hey, let's hold on to possession until we cleaned it up downfield. And that power cutting from Bonnet to the open side forces DeMarc to bounce around, and a gorgeously timed cut by Bourneau. Easy goal. Mextroth could just put her hands up and say, what am I supposed to do? I can't guard both sides of the field like this.
No, not in the sand. Players there looking to maybe coaches Ken Porter and Kelly Highland, who tore her ACL and really can't play this tournament, but as Bezos has been on the sideline really helping the defensive units, and we can see by the change in pattern of France's play on offense that they are making big defensive adjustments to try to get that final block. USA back on offense. French coming down tight on defense. Mott going deep, guarded by Mate. Helton with the disc. Finding Sean Mott. Lefty, flick, slicing to Higgins. Outside the end zone, no one else is close by. Back to Mott. Finding an outlet in Helton. Flick out to the outside. Harper Garvey, can he keep it in bounds? France signaling goal. Great awareness there by Harper Garvey.
Wow, those ballet lessons paying off for Harper Garvey, because my goodness, what a toe touch there as he goes and catches it at the top shelf. Kayla Helton continuing to do what Kayla Helton does. Tough to guard, hitting both sides of the field. All 3 assists from her, all going to Harper, who's known for being a handler in the club division, and just great awareness. My goodness, a catch here. So, if I'm the coaching staff for the U.S., Katie, I am imploring my defenders that the time was yesterday. Now is past that time, so you gotta go. Right here is the moment. Go make a play right here, right now.
Harper Garvey, as you said, being known for being a handler in the open game, but I think that one of the things we're seeing from this USA team is that players are having to play or getting to play outside of their normal things, and that deep skill set in the US has really served them well. But I'm so impressed by the focus of both teams here as we're tied 9-9, 10 minutes left to play in this short beach round. No one has really blinked yet. Mbe Vogel fielding the pole. Scuber rescued by Bonet. Players streaking deep. Lachey guarded by Finney. Mbe Vogel looking upfield. Bonet in space. Can Denicourt catch up? He can't! It's Mbe Vogel to Bonet again for the France score. Bonet putting on a show.
An absolute show. I mean, this possession-saving catch on a tipped Scuber in the beginning, and then just grinding, power cutting, slashing across the field. There's no chance for anyone to stop this kid.
I mean, I feel like in my head are playing Dragon Thrust replays where we see Caleb Denicourt using his speed to catch up, and in this case I think it highlights how fast Bonet is, because Caleb Denicourt is certainly a speedster himself, and this is just a foot race he can't make the ground up in.
Katie, I was noticing this earlier when you had Bonet and El Salam going toe-to-toe. They have very similar running styles. They dig in deep and they use their power to run. And you can tell that Bonet's power in his legs, he's unstoppable right now. He must be, I don't know what he's thinking. I would love to know. Because
I don't know. I think maybe it's the shades that I feel like he's absolutely a man of ice. But that ability that we're seeing is so exciting. Neves upfield to Higgins. Mott going deep from the handler space. Dimnade chasing down, but it's all Mott clap catching for the 2-throw score for the U.S.
And this is what they were talking about pregame. We love the shots that Simon Higgins takes because they're the smart, correct shots. He's not forcing it.
Yeah, Mott is in the backfield and immediately puts on the Jets from Higgins, heating up towards the end zone in this game. It's clap catches. We are tied 10-10. We'll bring it back in just a minute. It's 10-10. France is back on offense, turning through. Camille Blanc with the disc. Bonnet on the near side, looking. Back to Blanc, swinging back and forth very quickly, using their resets. Not a lot of movement upfield, trying to find an open player. Slicing inside, now out to space. And Bourneau gets the disc.
The confidence out of Błaszczykowski. He's got his fist in the air when the disc is halfway to the end zone. They knew it. The confidence in this French team is something to behold right now.
A timeout being called, and honestly, the momentum is all in France's favor at the moment. You can see this throw to the inside as they go, leading pass here, not an easy angle, and this one just floating out for Bourneau, well pursued by Pajunas. It is an absolute pleasure to see this pattern from these teams.
Yeah, it's special, and Bourneau's timing now, time and time again, she's been so flawless, really. She's patient, right? She's hanging out in the stack and seeing it develop in front of her so that way she can get an easy pass into space. And God, this French team is trusting each other all the way around. Let's listen in.
Yeah. This is an interesting timeout moment. I was talking with the French coaches before this game, and they said that it was this point, right? They were up 10-9 in their pool play game. They are up 11-10 at the moment, and this is where they blinked a little bit and let the U.S. come back. And so this moment, I think, is the coaches trying to remind the team what they viewed their film last night of really taking that moment, because there are less than 5 minutes left until we hit cap. This is a game to 13. We'll see. They've been scoring quickly so far, but we'll see how far they get. It's really tense moments as we get to the final points here in this semifinal matchup. France trying to take down the reigning champions, USA. And now we're seeing on defense for the first time, Bourneau with the pull, or Bonnet with the pull, rolling out the back. Letting Mott pick it up instead. A strong line called here by France, trying to maybe get the break. We'll see. We'll see if this coaching line change decision will pay off. USA is back to business as usual with the same line. Mott, Kawabata, floating for Mott. Helton on the far side, flick goes up, trailing to the far side. It's her favorite target, Harper Garvey, and it's Helton to Garvey again. French defense so close in pursuit, but that was a USA, maybe 3 or 4 throw score again. Smooth sailing for the US.
Yeah, they were featuring Simon in the middle, and they just couldn't find him with the disc. And so Kayla said, all right, I mean, if that's what it's going to have to be, then I'm just going to have to throw Harper open on a back shoulder fade here with the forehand going from the right side of the field all the way back to the left side of the field. Defender was in the picture, but really didn't have a chance on this one because of the touch and shape that Kayla Helton was able to put on the disc.
Yeah, we've had great weather here. The flags are going in what I would still call as a breeze, maybe a little bit stronger than we've seen earlier in the tournament, but not deeply affecting the discs. This is all precision throws from both sides, really knowing their receivers. This is a tightly defended game. I think that this is maybe the best defense from both teams I've seen through a full game in this entire tournament. And we're seeing
it's a game to 2, Katie, and we haven't had a turnover since 5-5.
Deep in their own end zone, France fields. Bonnet in the middle. Passing back and forth between themselves, deep in their own end zone. Looking upfield. Umbe Vogel gets open. Talking about when the pick occurred, if it affected play. Feels like both teams taking a deep breath as we come back into action here. On the sideline, Mbe Vogel looking upfield, puts one into space. Bonnet on the sideline, not hesitating as his mech shot falls backwards into his leg, and it's Bonnet to Lachey for the score.
Wow, Bonnet just in control of his body the whole way down the field, feels or hears about the backside defender getting close. Mekstros does everything she can to apply the pressure, but the reality is Bonnet's so big and so strong, he just is able to reel in this pass on the doorstep and calmly flips it to his compatriot.
Yeah, Lachey catching the score there, was part of the French mixed team that just won European mixed championships in Limerick this year, really using that experience to go. You can see Bonnet there saying it's all about France there.
Yeah, Superman indeed, though. That is about as apt of a celebration of his country as you're going to see. What a performance so far. And, I mean, Katie, this is the cleanest game we've seen at the tournament so far. We have a single true turnover early from the US, right? And then we have a block from the Americans, and that's it.
Yeah. And Cap has gone on. So after this point, we'll see what happens. Mott to Neves. Player for Exist now to Helton. Up to Kawabata. Mott streaking deep. Higgins turning towards that sideline. US floating it out of the hands of Neves. They used the sideline too much, and that last point doinking out of her hand in heartbreaking fashion. The French sideline is absolutely electric. It's like we went from a 10 on the intensity to an 11. Desperate moments for the US, as this would be game point for France in a game to 13. Tense moments, trying to find an outlet.
Riyad with the undercut.
Looking deep, seeing a moment. Bertrand. Upfield.
Stangenek now.
Breathing, taking deep moments. Simon Higgins in pursuit. Resetting the disc. Upfield on the far sideline. Looking. Choosing to reset instead. Give and go. In space. Up. Too far. Laying out. Diving catch from Riyad for the France win. Huge upset in the mixed division.
The disc floats over the intended receiver. We saw Stangenek go every other back and forth, and then Riyad comes out of nowhere from the stack to see it. Full extension layout, two hands on the disc, lands in the end zone, and we have the upset that no one could have ever predicted. 13-11, France over the US.
I saw this happening. Oh, feeling the emotions. You can't help but see this and how fast the team rushes. It is absolute disbelief from the US. The youth of France, the determination, learning from the previous game, taking down an absolutely stellar and almost perfect US team. This is what we came to the World Beach Ultimate Championships for. Moments like this, Chris.
It was a single turnover from the French side, Katie. That's it. Just one. This is what it takes to beat an American team that's as stacked as it is. It takes one turnover. And if you can believe in your team to say, we are just going to play catch as much as we possibly can. This is the kind of dreams that can become realities. how many clean holds. This is an unbelievable stat sheet. I've never seen something like this in a game to 11, 15, 17. Doesn't matter what the point score was. Unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. The game of the tournament so far. Excellent play from France. Just so much joy. We are going to be joined on the sideline here by Elliot Bonnet. Elliot, tell me what you're feeling right now.
I can't explain. First of all, sorry for my English. I'm so emotional right now. So, it's awesome. I'm just so happy, so proud of my team, of my teammates. It's awesome. I can't explain.
Yeah, we saw you for most of that game with the sunglasses on, showing no emotion, not blinking. You were involved in the majority of scores for your offensive line, just one turnover on the day. How did you make that happen?
I prepared so hard, but I just wanted to thank. That's my role to score the points. But I wanted to thank all my teammates who make the shadow work, who create spaces, and that's them. The stars, not me.
Elliot, it was an absolute pleasure to watch you compete earlier in this tournament and today. You're doing it with a kind of humility that people around the world will be emulating for a long time. Continue this joy, celebrate with your teammates, rest up, and thank you for putting on the show of the tournament.
Thank you all of you all. Thank you all the world. Thank you, Ultimate. Thank you.
And you heard it there. Thank you, Ultimate. Growing around the world, but today growing most in France as they have punched their way into the final. Who they will face. We have Spain versus Germany later today, but really the mixed division bringing the fire as France tops the U.S., and it will not be a USA sweep at the World Beach Ultimate Championships this time. It was France, it was not blinking, and it was exceptional play from both sides. Not to take anything away from the Americans, but they just could not stop Elliot Bonnet today.
It was power cutting across the board, and we saw a single turnover from the French team. Only 2 turnovers from the American teams. These are 2 well-oiled machines, teams that expected to win gold, and they put on a show of all time for us, Katie. An honor, a pleasure to be here with you. I'm so excited to see what this French team can do again.
It has been absolute highlights. 13-11, France over US. Who will they face? Stay tuned with more coverage of the World Beach Ultimate Championships. I'm Katie Killebrew with Chris Mazer. More to come.